Let's discuss self-defense, fitness, diet, environment, your empowerment. Hosted by your very own O'Shane Bryant. New research: dinner cutoff at 5 p.m. This now presents a question. This is like an adage old question. Should you or should you not eat late dinner? Or in this case, should you or should you not eat after 5 p.m.? I want to try to address this question by discussing the points highlighted in articles, news articles that is, and see how best I may present you with some applicable solutions utilizing my professional experience and other feedback mechanisms. So, according to the USA Today article dated October 6, 2022, key points: new research suggests eating later in the day, starting at about noon, can promote obesity. Eating all of your meals within a 10-hour window can also have health benefits, according to new study found. Making breakfast your biggest meal of the day isn't a guaranteed health boost, but you might be less hungry as the day goes on, research suggests. I want to just pause right here a bit. So, in terms of the details relating to eating later in a day may promote obesity, I can see why this may be the case. Obesity as a public health disease has lifestyle or environmental connections as well as genetic connections. So, in the context of eating later in the day, if it's a case that from an angle of calories, we're eating more calories going into the latter part of the day and we're not burning that much calories, then that can be a behavior that promotes obesity. So I can see that. The point of eating your biggest meal at breakfast contributing somewhat to you experiencing a state where you're eating less calories throughout the day, this claim or this point can actually support the dietary focus of the king, queen, papa, where in which the individual will eat heaviest at breakfast or eat as a king, eat second heaviest at lunch or eat as a queen, and eat the lightest or eat as a pauper, as they will say. So this point does support that dietary regime. The point of eating all meals within 10 hours of your day to achieve the best health benefits. Now, this is relatively new, and this is where I would like to share further on in terms of what is being discussed in these news articles. To note, the research of focus is a peer-reviewed journal article published in Cell Metabolism. A highlight, as mentioned, is that persons who ate meals 4 hours later in the day were more hungry, burned calories at a slower rate, and had body changes that promoted fat growth. Late eating more than doubled the likelihood of being hungry, researchers said. When study participants ate later in the day, they had lower levels of the hormone leptin, which is present when we feel full, according to the researchers. In another article titled Prevention, which reference the same study. Integrative medical doctor Dana Cohen says that eating between 5 to 7 p.m. would be ideal. However, the later it gets, the less food you should consume. This paper also highlights the following from the same research. It says that meals, or rather, people who eat meals at 5 p.m. latest burned 60 more calories than those who ate dinner later. The research participants who ate dinner later also stored fat differently and had higher levels of hunger. Specific to the statements made by Dr. Cohen, I can concur that the later it gets, in terms of you staying up later, that is, the less food you should be eating. The reason why I may concur with this is that eating heavier closer to bedtime can affect the time at which you can fall into deep sleep and or your quality of sleep altogether. And if we're then going to look at it in terms of your body's performance over the course of the following day, in terms of being able to function at optimum, giving your body the time it needs to repair itself and to build or preserve muscle, then a reduced quality of sleep can significantly affect this negatively. The article highlight point of 60 more calories being burned for persons who eat within the 5 p.m. dinner cutoff, as well as the body fat stores being differently among others. In my respect, that takes or that demands further scrutiny in terms of the specifics of the study participants, their physiology, um, and the other bio specifics, age, um, their lifestyle considerations. Those, in my view, should also be explicit so that people do not get led astray. Uh, for me, question that surface is in terms of the 60 calories that are burned, are these active calories or resting calories that are burned, right? In terms of the fat deposition specifics, how so are they different for individuals who eat within the 5 p.m. cutoff point relative to those who eat outside this cutoff point? And for the fat deposition difference, how does this affect their overall physiology in the sense of whatever kind of health complications that may arise? You know, those questions surface, and it's not fully explicit in this relative news article. So, in my view, I will not take that as gospel. I will take that with a grain of salt. Discussing the points highlighted in his research is seriously a mouthful. To see where there are so many articles, news articles in the United States that have taken up this research and is really, publicizing it and pushing it, it makes it appear as if this or the conclusions, the recommendations of this research is supposed to be adopted right throughout the population, global population, and even within different population segments. But I am not one of the individuals who can do this because, as it is right now, these questions surface. Do the points mentioned in this study hold true for tertiary students? And in terms of the tertiary students, we're talking about full-time undergrads, or it could be a case that you're part-time, and it could even be a case where we're talking about graduate students and even postgraduate students. Do the points highlighted hold true when it's a case where you are being told that your dinner should cut off at 5 p.m., knowing that you're going to have to pull an all-nighter, where you're more than likely going to be staying up to like a 2 a.m., a 3 a.m., should your last meal, the dinner, be at a 5 p.m., max 7 p.m.? What do you do when hunger starts to eat you out during the 9 p.m., 10 p.m.? Do you just ignore it and try to study? Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to study as efficiently as if you were to eat something as your body demands it. Similarly, what if it's a case that you exercise at nighttime? So, according to this research, it is saying that your last meal should be at a 5 p.m., latest 7 p.m., but you get in from work at 7 p.m. And or it's a case where your last study, your last course enables you to take in your exercise after the cutoff time. And when you done your workout, hunger kicks in. Is it a case that you're supposed to ignore it? Is it that based on what this study is highlighting, that generally you consuming dinner after the cutoff time of the 5 p.m., latest 7 p.m., that you would be less efficient in burning calories and your body will be storing fat much more differently than if you had cut off your dinner at the 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.? How is this applicable knowing that exercise as it is a stimulant in you burning calories, active calories, as well as calories at rest? It is a stimulant for you to build muscle, which is the physiologic adaptation towards you burning calories sustainably. And in so doing, you reducing your overall body fat percentage. How is this applicable? Until it's a case where these questions or points I have highlighted can be answered, the specifics referenced in this research, in my view, cannot be adopted and cannot be recommended wholeheartedly by myself as a fitness professional or a health coach. Those are my points in that respect. And this is a way how you ought to be looking at some of these research, new studies that are coming out. Critique it. Yes, and from there, you can see how best to apply it to your reality. This is where I'm going to leave it as it is right now. I would like to know what are your views on the points shared in the research as well as my points highlighted. Thank you for listening. Do like and share with someone who you know can benefit from this discussion. Also, if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do so. Take care.